Knoxville, and welcome into the Organized Investor Show, brought to you by Tennessee Wealth Management, everybody's favorite hour of their weekend. I'm Erik Ainge, and there's four of us in the studio bringing you your money weekend time. Hope you had a great week. Let's talk money. We're East Tennessee's Financial Four, and our goal is to help you organize your investments, your retirement, and your affairs. Your financial affairs. This isn't daytime TV. Again, you heard me. I'm Ainge. You hear me on the Sports Animal 9 to noon Monday through Friday. With me from Tennessee Wealth Management, we have Megan Hubbard. She's the dean of our college knowledge here, and she actually is the smartest person in the room, according to
Megan.
Oh, or her. I was going to say her dad, Jerry. Jerry Goodman has been a CFP for 43 years, guys. Forgotten more about how to make money for you than most people in this town combined. No. He was also vice president at Merrill Lynch. We have my beautiful wife, Susan Ainge, here studying for her Series 7 securities exam from Tennessee Wealth Management. And also Jennifer Johnsey behind the glass, keeping us on schedule, cracking the whip and making sure that we bring you a good hour of financial talk here to help you. Right now, we're talking the numbers. Numbers are impressive, and we cannot wait to share them with you. But more importantly, we're going to spend a lot of time today on something that's probably sitting on your New Year's resolution list right now. Megan, what is the number one thing people say they're going to do in January, but they put it off year after year?
Well, in addition to all of the things that we probably would all expect, like quitting smoking or losing weight or even exercising more, estate planning is actually also at the top of most people's lists. Getting that will done. A lot of us have not done that, and it's an important thing to do. It's on everyone's list every single year without fail, typically. And every year, February comes, March comes, summer arrives, and suddenly it's December again, and we're Christmas shopping and needing to do all the party planning and all the things that get in the way of helping us to make sure that we get that done within that year. And nothing's happened with our will. So the good news is we're going to remove every excuse today. But first, let's talk about financial checkups, okay? So most people, you go to the doctor every year for a physical, or you should at least. You get your blood pressure taken, your cholesterol checked, they check your weight, and all the vital signs that tell you if you're on the right track in regards to your health. But when was the last time anyone got a real checkup on their financial health? When did they actually sit down and examine the vital signs of their portfolio? Well, typically the answer is
never.
Never, or not often, very rarely.
Few and far between.
And that's such a good point. It ties perfectly into what we do here. I bet everyone listening right now knows their blood pressure better than their investment returns.
I do.
You could probably tell me your cholesterol number. Maybe your doctor's been bugging you about it. But what's your 5-year return? Most people have absolutely no idea.
It's like being a football coach who never looks at the stats, right? You're just out there hoping things work out. Rolling the dice, that seems like a good idea, and then you don't check it. I know my completion percentage after every single game. I know my yards per attempt, how many times I got sacked, which, by the way, I hold the record in that. Jerry, did you know that?
No.
Fewest sacks taken in a college football season. The answer is 3. No one will ever break that record. But because of that, you know what you need to work on and how you can get better. Your money deserves that same level of attention and analysis.
In 43 years of doing this, I've seen the pattern. It's over and over and over. People, they're going to spend all kinds of time researching like a new television versus trying to look at their retirement accounts. They will read reviews, look at the TV, basically, and they're going to replace the thing in 5 years. But they won't spend 20 minutes just looking at their money and their statements. It's going to have to last them for 30 years. It makes no sense, but we constantly see it.
That blows my mind every time I hear it. You'll obsess over a $1,000 TV, but completely ignore a $1 million portfolio. Makes no sense. That's like spending hours picking out your cleats, but never watching a single minute of film on the defense you're about to face. I mean, I don't obviously know that from experience, but I would assume so, right, Erik?
No, 1,000%.
Okay. It just doesn't make any sense when you actually sit down and think about it. So you'll drive 3 miles out of your way to save 5 cents per gallon on gas. My sister does this, but you won't take the time to open up the envelope and look at the investment statements that have the key information to your long-term financial future.
And without a benchmark to compare against, you're just hoping things are fine. That's like assuming you're healthy because you feel okay without ever stepping on a scale or checking your blood pressure. You might even feel fine while something is slowly getting worse in the background. The same is true with investments. You need to actually know your numbers.
All right, let's talk numbers then. Let's give everyone the vital signs of this team's performance. Tennessee Wealth Management just calculated everything. We've been talking to you about the first 9 months. Let's talk to you about some full year-end numbers. Megan, can you give us the vital signs? what did Tennessee Wealth Management get done in 2025?
Absolutely. Here we go. So for the calendar year 2025, the 198 accounts that this team manages averaged a net return of 36.3%.
The crowd goes wild.
Woo! The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 13% over that same period. Okay?
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, that's a perfect sound effect. Now, in case you're not sure you heard me correctly, yes, these clients earned nearly 3 times what the Dow Jones average delivered. 3-year trailing was 19.3% annually versus 13.2% for the Dow. 5-year trailing was 13.3% versus 9.4% for the Dow. 7-year trailing, 16.7% annually versus 10.1% for the Dow.
Pick a metric. We're winning, huh?
We are. These are actual results from actual accounts and no hypothetical projections here, people.
All right, so like making sure everybody heard that first number. This is important. And this is why, since we've been doing this, the 4 of us in here, your financial foursome, several people, I think the 4th one today already, people are calling Jerry for that anytime in 20 minutes. Hey, let me look at this. These numbers, guys, 36% in 1 year. The Dow did 13, 36, Tennessee Wealth Management, 13 from the Dow. It's not just beating the market, that's running up the score. That's like hanging 50 on somebody. Oh, should we punt? Should we take a knee? No. Jerry, you're not taking a knee. We're going to go get some more percentages here. And if it were a football game, we're talking 42-14. Starters are sitting on the bench. It's 4th quarter. Game's completely over. And look, I threw some interceptions in my career. I know exactly how underperformance looks. This isn't it. This is elite level performance.
So let me add the most important part, the disclaimer that we always love to talk about. That is, again, Eric touched on this, net returns. These are after any kind of fees or costs have been deducted off this. These returns, they're posted on the organizedinvestor.com for anybody to verify. Also, past performance obviously never guarantees future results, and the returns are going to vary based on the individual and objectives and risk tolerance for each person. And now you have a real benchmark to actually compare against your own situation.
So we're talking about these performance numbers, and yes, they're so good. Someone out there is probably going, "Oh, they just made these up." No, that's why people are calling. That's why we have another meeting today with another gentleman listening to this show right here to see, okay, these numbers are great. They're telling the truth. Why don't I have a part of that in my life? What do you say to the doubting Thomases that are out there?
Or maybe even a doubting Debbie, which actually rhymes better. So Debbie or even Thomas, if you're listening, look at what we're doing here, okay? So on the investments page of our website, there is a 9-page summary showing the performance for these 198 accounts. I know they're there because I actually put them there. We obviously covered up their names and the first 4 digits of their account number. We're not just out there giving people's information away, but the last 4 digits are still there so you can know that these are actual accounts. And we left them there for doubting Debbie and her suspicious friend Thomas.
See, the fact is our clients actually know their account number, which maybe it take a second to find them, but they know where they are. And if they wanted to, they can actually look up on this list on our website, find their account right there, looking at their last 4 digits of their account number, and see the returns. Again, it's on our website. So obviously, we're not going to just post inaccurate information about our clients that they can actually easily check and say, "Gosh, Jerry, what a loser you are, just making this stuff up." These are actual numbers. They can actually go and see it. So our clients don't need to go to the website to check their rates of return. But the fact is we post it there to help convince you that it's real. And our clients actually know that's real because it's on their statements that they can actually look at.
So take some time, pull out your most recent statement, and compare your number to these. If there's a significant gap between what you're getting and what's possible, that's a symptom that needs attention. If you can't remember all of these numbers, they're on the investments page of our website, and just remember our 7-year return of 16.7% per year. That is more than 60% more than the Dow. So just like a doctor would tell you if your blood pressure was dangerously high.
Now, let me explain how this team achieves these kind of results. Let me put it in football terms because, well, I'm me and that's what I'm going to do. You don't build a championship roster by signing every player available. Alabama doesn't win championships by taking every recruit that shows up, right? Georgia, these teams suck, but they're winning. Georgia doesn't do that. Ohio State doesn't do that. The great programs, right? What everyone wants to be, you evaluate, you scout, you watch film, and you pick the guys that can actually play. Playmakers, not bench warmers, right? Players, not plays. Jimmys and Joes. All that, you can pick whatever mantra you want, and that's exactly what Jerry and Jared are doing, but with stocks. They're not collecting players, they're not buying everything, mutual funds. They're building a championship roster.
And the goal is to improve someone's overall performance by at least 2% annually. That might not sound like much, but let me put it in real dollar terms. On $1 million portfolio, that's an extra $20,000 per year in your pocket. Over 20 years, that actually compounds to $400,000 in additional wealth. $400,000, people, that is not pocket change. That is not a rounding error. That's a vacation home. That's your grandkids' college education completely paid for. That's the difference between a nervous retirement and a really comfortable one.
That's so true. And that 2% improvement, it comes really from three places. Pretty simple. Lower advisory fees, avoiding hidden mutual fund costs, and simply being more selective in terms of stock picking. And mutual funds basically have an internal cost that basically allows a lot of cost and whatnot to just help your money just quietly disappear. In fact, there's even an example of a mutual fund advisory account on our website has an internal cost of 0.79%, which is kind of a sad example. That means $7,900 per year on $1 million portfolio. You're never going to get a bill for it. It just comes out silently from the internal costs that are buried inside of that.
Well, here's what really bugs me about the typical mutual fund approach. Susan, you've been studying this for your exam, right? And we've been talking about it. If someone owns 15 or 20 different mutual funds, how many companies do they actually end up owning?
Thousands. Each fund owns hundreds of individual stocks. So you end up owning thousands of different companies. You've got some stars in there.
Like me.
But you've also got a ton of underperformers dragging down the overall average. It's like signing every single recruit who visits your campus. And sure, you might get some 5-star talent in the mix, but you're also paying scholarships to guys who shouldn't even be on the roster.
Exactly. We're talking the stars end up carrying the dead weight, and your overall performance suffers because of it. We call that around here, and I got my third, we call that, that's a diversification. Instead of diversification, right, making things better, it actually makes it worse. And when it leads to mediocre returns, worse performance, Jerry's word he likes to use for that one, right? But it's what we're talking about here. They stick with people, and that's the whole point, right? Picking, being choosy.
Let me give you a quick story about why this matters. We had a gentleman named Harold come to one of our workshops. Harold was about 69 years old. I feel like if your name is Harold, you probably are 69. Susan and Eric, there's a name for you if you have another baby, Harold. Can you imagine like having a baby and
Harold
Ainge,
little
baby Harold? Like,
Let's hope it's a boy.
But anyways, poor Harold.
Girl.
Here I am making fun of his name. Well, Harold was 69. He was a retired pharmacist, and really his name was not Harold, but he spent 40 years telling patients to monitor their vital signs, take their medications, get their checkups. When we ran his Morningstar report, his 5-year return was barely 6%. Think about this. A pharmacist spent his entire career telling people to check their health numbers, and he never checked his own investment numbers. The irony there is almost too perfect.
Megan, that's exactly what Harold said. He sat back and just said to himself, I spent my entire career telling patients, monitor your health, look at everything, and I not once looked at my financial situation. So 8 months after switching to us, he basically called us one day and said, I'm finally getting the right diagnosis after all these years of just feeling off.
We're talking about the right diagnosis. That's exactly what we're offering here. A financial checkup that tells you the truth, not what you want to hear or what you need to hear, just what the actual truth is. So what stocks are we talking about? What's in the portfolio?
Individual dividend growth stocks instead of mutual funds. That's what's in the portfolio. So household names everyone recognizes. These are places that you're shopping. Costco, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, General Dynamics, Becton Dickinson. These are companies you probably shop at every single week, possibly. Lowe's has raised its dividend actually for over 60 consecutive years through recessions, market crashes, pandemics, everything.
And Lowe's, for an example, 60 years of consecutive dividend raises. That's like a program that's been winning since Kennedy was president. Not luck, that's consistency, that's quality management decade after decade.
These stocks come from the DSIP list, a Wells Fargo strategy with a 30-year track record averaging over 12% annually. DSIP stands for Diversified Stock Income Plan, and it focuses specifically on dividend growth companies. Because investors view these companies as well-managed and financially stable, their stock prices tend to hold up much better during market downturns.
So when the market goes into a little panic, we like to use what we've named it, like everything else, bargain opportunities. Think of it kind of like shopping. If your family store has a 30% off sale at your
then I'm buying everything.
favorite store, you want to run out and basically, you don't run away screaming. You load up the car, fill it up. And during the tariff scare back in 2025, which is last year, quality companies dropped significantly, even though the businesses were basically still real solid. In a particular day, we made 12,500 trades in a single day. We're out here buying companies basically we liked at much higher prices, and we really loved them when they were nice and cheap. So while everybody else is running for the exits with a big panic on, we basically are shopping for things on sale.
No, Jerry, we were talking about the other day when we were at lunch with that gentleman, and I said, everyone wants to play stocks and do their stock thing and do all this. So but we're working. You have this, you have all that going on. Jerry and Jared are the ones they're doing this for you. 12,500 trades in a day. Let that sink in. When everyone else is panicking and selling, Jerry and Jared, they were buying. Like reading the blitz. Here it comes. You know it's coming. Pockets collapsing. Everyone's holding their breath. But if you've done your homework and you're ready, then you can stay calm under pressure and you can take advantage of that bargain opportunity like y'all did and like you're always ready and willing to do. That flexibility, the ability to move fast, make decisions when other people are frozen. Right? That's exactly why clients finished 2025 with y'all 36%, while the Dow is only managed at 13%. You can't do that if you're stuck in mutual funds. You can't do that if you're waiting around for everyone to make a decision. No, we're talking Jared and Jerry and Tennessee Wealth Management going set hut. Now let's talk about our 4 get 1 frees here, guys.
Hit it,
Megan, can you run through them?
Okay, so first we have the Morningstar report with plain English explanations, not a bunch of mumbo jumbo that you can't understand. A second offer is a cash flow analysis, which is called an Envision report, and that's for your retirement planning piece of things. Third, there is a free estate planning document that we can provide you through Trust and Will, and we're spending a lot of time actually on this particular topic today, so stay tuned.
And fourth, a signed Tennessee football signed by my husband, Erik Ainge.
Better be me.
Complete with a stand so it doesn't roll off your shelf. No cost, no obligation, no catch. Just 4 free things because we want to help.
It always seems kind of odd to me when you use the term no catch when a quarterback's talking about a football, doesn't it? So to get started, you need to call me this is Jerry, at 865.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, spells vol, by the way, 865-415-2070. That rings straight to my cell phone, as scary as that sounds, or visit us at theorganizedinvestor.com. So we work with about 240 families, 750 accounts, and some of your relationships go back over 40 years, a long, long time.
All right, so when we come back, guys, we're going to bust some myths about trusts versus wills. It's January. Megan talked about it earlier. Estate planning, it's on everyone's resolution list, and yet what you know about it, what you've heard about it, is probably flat out wrong. Stay with us right here on the Organized Investor Show.
For more than 50 years, families, businesses, and neighbors have trusted one name to make life's biggest moments unforgettable: Rose's Catering. Family owned, locally grown, serving this community since 1971. And now, Rose's is taking hospitality to new heights. Literally, inside the iconic Sunsphere, Knoxville's shining symbol from the 1982 World's Fair. Introducing Sunsphere Events. 2 breathtaking floors of panoramic views, elegant gatherings, and the warmth only Rose's can provide. Whether it's a wedding in the sky, a corporate reception, or a celebration with friends, Rose's and Sunsphere Events bring people together beautifully. Visit rosescatering.com or sunsphereevents.com to plan your next unforgettable event. Rose's Catering, a Knoxville tradition since 1971.
At the Grimes Agency with Goosehead Insurance, getting a quote has never been easier. With our industry-leading online quoting tool, you can answer a few simple questions and see real-time quotes from over 30 A-rated insurance companies right on your screen or phone, often in less than 30 seconds. The entire process takes about 5 minutes, giving you instant access to real prices so you can make sure you're getting the most competitive option for your home and auto insurance. Your information is never shared, sold, or sent to third parties. Everything goes directly to the local Goosehead Insurance office where Mike Grimes and his team review your results, run your reports, and confirm your final quote when you're ready. Call Mike Grimes at 865-281-1267 or visit www.tn.insure today to experience the future of insurance shopping. The Grimes Agency with Goosehead Insurance. Insurance the way you always wished it was done.
Erik Ainge is the host of The Erik Ainge Show on 99.1 The Sports Animal, weekdays from 9 to noon. He is not a client of Tennessee Wealth Management, but is compensated to both promote and co-host The Organized Investor Show.
Welcome back to the Organized Investor Show. I'm Erik Ainge here with my wife Susan Ainge and Jerry Goodman and Megan Hubbard from Tennessee Wealth Management. We are East Tennessee's Financial Four, and we're here to help you get stuff organized. If you missed it in the first segment, here's your quick recap. Their clients averaged 36% in 2025, while the Dow did a whopping 13%. All the details right there on the website. You can listen to the whole show on your favorite podcast channel, player, however you want to, The Organized Investor Show, theorganizedinvestor.com. But let's move on here. Let's tackle something that's probably sitting on your New Year's resolution list right now. Finally getting your estate planning done. It's January. This is the time of year when everyone says, this is the year I'm finally going to get my will done. Time to get organized. That's my serious self-doubt voice. That
You sounded like Harold.
Oh, that's what I'm going to do. All right, and then February comes, March comes, summer comes, and it's December, and you haven't done it. The resolution got pushed to next year. Sound familiar? Right? You're going, well, I got other things that are more important. Well, hold on. I'm guessing a lot of you out there listening, you're nodding your head right now. I'm guilty of this in the past as well.
So here's why people put it off year after year. They think estate planning is complicated, expensive, maybe confusing. They don't know where to start. They don't know who to trust. They're overwhelmed by all the options. And honestly, the estate planning industry has made it confusing. And sometimes they've done that deliberately. There's a lot of misinformation out there about what you actually need to have in place.
Wait, on purpose? You mean like confusion is deliberate?
Some of the confusion is intentional because it benefits certain people financially when you're confused. So actually, yes. And confused people buy the premium option because they don't know any better. They think that that's what they should be doing.
All right, Susan, why don't we get into this? What's the biggest misconception people have about estate planning?
The biggest misconception is that everyone needs a revocable living trust. People come in absolutely convinced that they need a trust because it's going to solve a zillion problems that a will cannot solve. Well, that preconceived notion is just simply not true.
Well, where's the idea come from then, guys? Like, everyone seems to think they've got to have a trust.
Erik, it comes from a lot of different places, I would say. First, unfortunately, we've got a lot of friends and uninformed family who will say, "Oh, you should get a trust," but they don't really know why they're saying that. Okay, they're just going to say it. Secondly, this is a very important one. Some attorneys, a lot of document preparation companies are out there who they understand the truth, but they're there to convince you otherwise. Because a revocable living trust is basically, it's a more complicated kind of a solution, which makes it more expensive, which means it's more money in their pocket.
So
sad to say, but that's the truth.
Well, one of the things that I've heard a lot of in our time together, Jerry, is you talking about what people do, and then there's another notion, another reason they're doing it. I'm hearing that you're saying some professionals are pushing trust because, well, they make more money, not because it's actually better for the client.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we're saying. There are estate planning attorneys who recommend a revocable living trust for anyone who walks in the door, regardless of their situation. And there are document preparation companies that aggressively market trusts through seminars and online advertising. Here's the fact that nobody tells you. You can accomplish anything with a will that you can accomplish with a revocable living trust. Anything. And that's not an exaggeration.
Pretty strong statement.
Let's prove it to you. In our podcast, episode 23, we took the sales literature from one of these document preparation companies and we dissected it. They had 6 specific claims about why a trust is far superior to a will. Every single one of those claims was misleading. Every single one.
All right, well, then let's go through them then. I think that's really important stuff that people we got you. You're listening. Good radio. Give them the first claim, Jerry.
So the first claim is a trust will help you reduce estate taxes. So here's the fact. First, estate taxes aren't even an issue for somebody unless a couple is worth like $25 million in combined net worth. $25 million, folks. That's their house, retirement accounts, insurance. That's everything all added together. Now, first, the vast majority of people listening to this show are never going to owe a single dollar of estate taxes. They're not worth that much money. And even if estate taxes are an issue at that level of net worth because you're worth $25 million, the exact same tax planning, the exact same can be implemented by using a will instead of a trust. So unless you've got $25 million just sitting around, and if you do, congratulations, estate taxes don't even apply to you.
If you do, can you buy us some 5-star football players for Tennessee football? Because we would appreciate that.
We'll get a busload for that.
All right, claim number 2.
Number 2, they tell you that a trust protects your beneficiaries from predators and creditors. What they don't tell you is that the exact same protection can actually be accomplished by including specific asset protection language as part of your will. You don't need a trust for that at all. It's just specific legal language that can go in either document. We have a detailed article on our website called Tennessee Asset Protection Trusts that explains exactly how this works.
So a will can protect your kids from creditors just as well as a trust. All right, Jerry, number 3.
So they're going to claim a trust will help you if you become incapacitated and can't make decisions for yourself. Well, here's a little news flash. A power of attorney does the exact same thing. You don't need a trust for all of that.
All right, I'm taking notes. Power of attorney handles incapacity, right? If you need to do that, got it. All right, number 4.
They say a trust lets you select who manages your assets. Well, that's also possible with a power of attorney or simply choosing the executor of your will. Nothing special has to be there.
All right, Susan, number 5.
They claim a trust gives your trustee immediate control over your assets if you become incapacitated. Same thing. Whoever you name in your power of attorney has that exact same ability.
And the last one, number 6, any takers?
Megan?
I'll go with that one. They say a trust can provide for a special needs child. That's also possible by adding the necessary language into your will. You don't need a trust for that. So every single one of their 6 selling points can be accomplished with a will or a power of attorney instead, actually.
All right, Jerry, if a will does the exact same thing, why are these companies pushing trusts so hard?
Let me just say one little word: money. Pure and simple, it's money, okay? A trust is simply 2 to 3 times generally more expensive than a will package. More complicated means more expensive, which means basically more profit for whoever is selling this to you.
This is like the coach that's selling you on their complicated playbook when a simple one would win just as many games. They're not trying to help you win. They're trying to justify their fee. It really frustrates me because you get these people to try to trust them and give you honest advice, and it sounds like that's not happening.
Now, I can hear some of you out there thinking, what about probate? Probate,
dun, dun, dun.
like a cuss word.
Yeah.
That seems to be the thing everyone is worried about, really. We hear that a lot. So don't trusts help you avoid probate? That's a typical question we get. Isn't that the whole point of getting one? Another question we often get. This is where it gets really interesting. A trust may allow you to avoid probate. Just may, okay?
Did you say may, Megan?
I want to emphasize that word. Yes, may.
Oh, might.
May. But once you understand what probate actually means for a Tennessee resident, you'll realize it's not nearly as scary as you think.
All right, well, and I'm a little dumb with this. What's the real truth about probate in Tennessee?
So let's start off with the very first question everybody wants to ask is, does a trust guarantee you can avoid probate? And as Megan said, the answer is absolutely no. There's no guarantee whatsoever. In other words, for a trust to guarantee to avoid probate, every single asset that you own must be properly titled in the name of that trust, okay? Your house, your bank accounts, your brokerage accounts, everything has to be retitled and owned by the trust. But the reality is things get missed all of the time. You know, accounts don't get together, accounts get opened up and never transferred into the trust. So it's just an ongoing, long-term, never-ending risk of that happening.
If even one asset isn't properly titled in the trust when you pass away, that asset has to go through probate anyways. So even if you go through all the trouble and expense of setting up a trust, you might still end up in probate. That seems like a pretty significant detail that nobody mentions up front.
Exactly right. And it happens far more than often than people actually realize. Now, here's the second question people like to ask. Does a trust settle your estate faster than using a will? Well, the answer is not necessarily. And here's something that absolutely nobody in the trust selling industry is going to tell you. If your trust owns your house, it may actually take longer to settle the estate than if you had simply gone through probate.
Longer? How's that even possible?
Longer.
I mean, everyone says the whole point of a trust is that it's fast and easy and you can avoid that.
You know, the first time I started explaining this to somebody, it took me 2 or 3 times to kind of explain it. It took a second to sink in. This is a rather deep explanation. Here goes. In Tennessee, creditors have what is called a 1 year from date of death, what's called creditor protection rules, okay, based on an estate. And this applies to assets also being held in a revocable living trust. So just because you put your house in a trust, it doesn't eliminate or shorten that creditor protection period, okay? So here's the key point that nobody will ever mention to you when they're selling you that big expansive, complicated trust package. a title company is not going to issue a title insurance on that piece of property, piece of real estate, as long as it's still in that creditor claim period, within that 1 year period. So if your house is owned by your trust, the title company may not release the sale proceeds after you've passed away for about 1 year after that person passes, okay? Your family could still be waiting 12 months to get the money out from selling the house, even with a trust.
So you took the fancy trust package and then you pass away, and you're telling me, I'm hearing, that you could still be waiting 12 months to get the money from selling the house, even with the trust.
Yes.
Man.
Sucks.
That's exactly right. But here's the alternative that nobody tells you about. Your beneficiaries can simply probate the estate instead. With probate in Tennessee, the sale proceeds could be available in as little as 4 months.
Well, 4 months versus 12 months. I'm not the smartest crayon in the box, but probate actually sounds like it could be faster in that situation.
Correct. Tennessee is a probate-friendly state. It's not the nightmare that people have been led to believe that it could be. The word probate has been turned into a scary boogeyman by people who profit from the fear. And if your family ends up deciding to probate anyway, all that extra time and money spent on setting up the trust was completely wasted. I've seen families spend $3,000 to $5,000 on a trust only to end up probating the estate anyway because the assets weren't properly titled.
Has anyone explained this before? I mean, I swear, I've never heard this, and I've talked to a lot of financial people over the years.
Sounds like somebody ought to get on the radio and talk about this, Erik.
Man, I guess theorganizedinvestor.com.
Yeah.
Wow, News Talk 98.7.
Well, you'll never hear it from the document preparation companies that are trying to sell you their expensive trust packages.
Money.
Their whole business model depends on convincing you that you need the premium option. And you won't hear it from the attorneys who recommend trust for virtually every client who walks in the door, regardless of their actual situation. And you certainly won't hear it from the friends and family members who have never heard of it themselves. They're just repeating what they were told.
Sell them a trust. It's like finding out the expensive sports drink everyone swears by doesn't actually work any better than water. Marketing convinced everyone it's absolutely necessary, but the science doesn't support it. I'm a big water guy myself. People have been buying the premium option for years when the basic option would have worked, which is what I'm hearing.
So there are other misconceptions, too, that we should address while we're on this topic, okay? So a revocable living trust, it is not going to protect your assets if you cause an accident. That's liability insurance. That's what's going to cover that, okay? A trust won't protect your home if you need Medicaid to pay for a nursing home care. That's a common misconception that people believe. A different type of trust, an irrevocable trust, might help with Medicaid planning, but that's a completely different animal. And a revocable living trust will not save you on taxes compared to using a will. Not a penny.
I mean, I'm hearing a lot of things here. I'm hearing that people just need to call you guys and talk to you about this because there's a lot going on in here. Bottom line, when does somebody actually need a trust over a will?
So here's the bottom line. A trust may allow your family to avoid the probate process, okay? But Tennessee is, again, Megan mentioned this, a probate-friendly state, and probate may actually be quicker than settling your estate through a trust. A trust may be simpler if everything is perfectly organized, but we can help you organize everything even if you don't have a trust. And if you happen to own property in different states, that might be a helpful use to use a trust, to avoid what's called multiple probates. But most people don't even have that situation.
On our website at theorganizedinvestor.com, there's an article called Avoiding Probate in Tennessee that explains all of this in much more detail. We also have information about Tennessee Asset Protection Trusts, if that's something you need. The point is, we just want you to have all the information that you need before you make a decision.
So companies are financially motivated to push the expensive trust option, which leads to all this misinformation, confuses everybody. The supplement, to me, it's like when the supplement industry is telling you that you have to have these expensive vitamins when just eating vegetables would do the same thing. They're not like lying, but they're definitely not telling you the whole truth either.
Well, and exactly. And since we don't receive, our team, never have received any kind of compensation whatsoever for helping you with getting your affairs in order, we actually have no agenda here. We have no idea or preference as to what you do. Which option you choose, whether it's a will or a trust, it is of no financial consequence to us at all. We just want you to make an informed decision based upon the facts, not marketing, or not be swayed by people who are either not being completely honest or just don't even understand what the options truly are.
Well, and that's kind of the whole thing at Tennessee Wealth Management, right? Information and trust, not that kind of trust. It's refreshing to hear someone actually telling you the truth instead of whatever makes them the most money. Having a coach that just wants to win, right? Hey, we want to win instead of just collecting a paycheck. There's your football reference for the afternoon. So what's the free option you mentioned earlier? Trust and will partnership?
Yes, through our partnership with Trust and Will, a complete will package is completely free. If after hearing all of this, you still want a trust, the only cost is retitling your assets. We purchased a bundle of estate planning packages for our clients for free, and we're making them available to our listeners as well. We've removed cost as a barrier. There's no excuse to keep putting this off anymore, but you have to call to get started. And that's when we can help you.
And you heard that number earlier. Let's get back to it. 36% in 2025. Help is what they can offer. This January, you actually can check that off the resolution list for free. Call Jerry at 865-415-2070 or go to theorganizedinvestor.com. You can check out podcast 23 for a complete breakdown. All right, when we get back, we're going to talk about why all this matters. The Catherine story. I'm excited to hear this one. Another elephant nobody discusses. Don't go anywhere. It's News Talk 98.7, The Organized Investor Show.
Rising high above downtown Knoxville, one landmark shines brighter than the rest: the Sun Sphere. Since 1982, this golden symbol of the World's Fair has defined our skyline. And now, it defines how Knoxville celebrates. SunSphere Events invites you to host your next gathering inside Knoxville's most iconic event venue. 2 breathtaking floors of panoramic views set the stage for unforgettable weddings, corporate receptions, and milestone celebrations, all framed by the glow of East Tennessee. From intimate dinners to grand galas, SunSphere Events delivers an experience as elevated as its view. And with trusted local partners, including the culinary team from Rose's Catering, celebrating over 50 years in East Tennessee, your event is in expert hands. Plan your next celebration today at sunsphereevents.com. SunSphere Events, Knoxville's most iconic event venue.
At the Grimes Agency with Goosehead Insurance, everything starts with one goal: putting clients first. The team is committed to adding value, providing clarity, and ensuring every client feels confident in their coverage and price. As a true brokerage, the Grimes Agency shops your insurance with over 30 A-rated companies, including Progressive, Farmers, Travelers, Nationwide, Liberty Mutual, and many more, so we can make sure you have great coverage at the most competitive rate. From home, auto, umbrella, and dwelling to life and jewelry insurance, they offer personalized protection for what matters most. With honesty, transparency, and a client-first approach, this is insurance the way you always wished it was done. Call Mike Grimes at 865-281-1267 or visit www.tn.insure to compare real quotes in minutes. The Grimes Agency with Goosehead. Insurance the way you always wished it was done.
Erik Ainge is a host of The Erik Ainge Show on 99.1 The Sports Animal, weekdays from 9 to noon. He is not a client of Tennessee Wealth Management, but is compensated to both promote and co-host The Organized Investor Show.
All right, guys, welcome back to the final segment of The Organized Investor Show. It's me, Ainge. I'm here with Susan Ainge. I'm here with Megan Hubbard and Jerry Goodman from Tennessee Wealth Management. If you're just joining us, you can check out our year-end performance at theorganizedinvestor.com. The numbers speak for themselves. We spent the last segment busting myths about trusts versus wills. If you missed it, catch the podcast. Again, theorganizedinvestor.com. It's information that could save you thousands of dollars. Information that is, Jerry and Jared and everybody at Tennessee Wealth Management that they're not making money on. They just want you to have the information. It's kind of part of their whole thing and what they do. Let's talk about why estate planning does indeed matter so much. Another elephant in the room, another story, right, that people don't discuss. That was a decent elephant there. So why do people keep putting off estate planning year after year? What's the underlying reason?
I mean, nobody wants to think about dying. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your own mortality. So then people just avoid the whole topic entirely. But avoiding it doesn't make the problem go away. It just makes it your family's problem instead of your problem.
So let me tell you a story that really stuck with me, okay? We call it the Catherine story. Obviously, we've changed her name. Catherine's husband, George, also a changed name, handled all of their finances for 38 years of marriage. Catherine never looked at a single statement. She never talked to the financial advisor. She trusted George completely with everything. And that trust, it was beautiful. It showed how much faith she had in her husband. But it also created an absolute nightmare when George passed suddenly from a heart attack. Catherine called us because she had no idea where anything was located. Bank accounts at 3 different banks, IRAs scattered across various institutions, old 401ks from jobs George had had decades ago, multiple insurance policies. Everything was in different places.
It took nearly 5 months, folks. 5 months just to locate and consolidate everything that George had set up over all of those years. See, every institution had different requirements, different forms, different waiting periods. And the sad part is George had been incredibly organized in his own mind, okay? He knew exactly where everything was, how it was all going to fit together, but he never wrote any of it down. He never shared any of it with his wife, Catherine. And he probably thought, he'd had more time. Maybe we all do, but nobody expects to pass suddenly, do they? That's why they call it suddenly.
So when George was gone, all that knowledge disappeared with him, like a computer crash with no backup, guys. Like a football team. If only one coach knows the play, something happens to the coach, then what do? Right? You're lost. Everyone's running around confused. Clock's ticking down. Estate planning is your family's playbook. Everyone needs to know the place before this day, right? Game day, or in this case, an unfortunate, sad death comes.
Catherine told us that the grief was hard enough without having to become a detective at the same time. Banks wouldn't release funds without proper documentation. Every single institution had different requirements. Death certificates, notarized forms, waiting periods. It was a maze of bureaucracy during the absolute worst time of her life.
And here's the thing. What if George had become incapacitated instead of passing away? Same exact problem, but now he's still alive and can't sign anything. He can't access his own retirement accounts. He can't sign tax returns. He can't sell the house if they need money to pay for his care. Without the right paperwork in place, a power of attorney, a healthcare directive, everyone is completely stuck.
See, we've seen families actually torn apart over arguments that really could have all been completely avoided with a few hours of a little planning, writing some things down. Siblings don't speak to each other anymore sometimes because nobody knew what mom and dad actually wanted. We had one family where the siblings ended up in court fighting over who got mom's china cabinet, okay? Her china cabinet. And not because it was particularly valuable, it's because nobody had written down who's supposed to get it. The lawsuit cost him far more than the china cabinet was ever worth, and basically the family relationships were destroyed because nobody wrote it down. Now, looking back, sure, a simple will would have basically prevented all of that. A little bit of preparation now prevents months of chaos and heartbreak down the road.
Stories like this, they actually break my heart. Families destroyed over things that could have been easily prevented. So this is exactly why we partnered with Trust and Will. We wanted to remove every single excuse people have for not getting this done.
Well, and a will package is completely free. Power of attorney, healthcare directive, all of it included at no cost to you. If you still want to trust after hearing everything that we've said in the previous segment, as we're talking right now, the only cost is retitling your assets. It's now the year 2026. Estate planning is sitting on your resolution list right in front of you. This is the year, guys. We can get it done.
Now here's another elephant that absolutely nobody ever wants to talk about.
Pretty good.
I want you to really think about this question. Does your financial advisor actually encourage you to spend money? Take vacations? Buy nice things? Upgrade that car you've been driving for 10 years? Actually enjoy the retirement you worked so hard for all those decades? I'm guessing most of you are shaking your head right now. And there's a very specific structural reason for that silence.
Most advisors charge a percentage of the assets they manage, typically around 1% per year.
Or higher.
Think about what that means. If you spend $50,000 on a vacation, that's $500 less in their annual fee. If you buy a new car for $60,000, that's $600 less in their pocket every single year going forward. Every single dollar you spend is literally a pay cut for your advisor. The incentives are completely misaligned with your best interests.
Now, in contrast, as a team, we encourage people to actually enjoy their money. We've had arguments with clients about maybe they could buy a bigger house or maybe get a cruise actually that has an outside window to it. It's true. This is true. We've got clients that actually we've done this with. And now ultimately it's their decision, but we feel like we want them to have permission to do this, and to live a little bit, basically to spend some of this money. We want them to enjoy their retirement, and it's the entire point of saving money for 40 years, okay? Why accumulate all this money, all this wealth, if you're never actually going to use it to either create some memories or maybe do some things with people that you love?
Well, studies consistently show that people with $1 million and people with $2 million often spend nearly the same amount in retirement. The financial industry has scared people into permanent hibernation mode. They're afraid to spend money they've legitimately earned because someone convinced them that they might run out. Meanwhile, they're dying, right? You're getting older and you're too afraid to just enjoy it. That's a tragedy. That's not a success story.
Let me tell you about Richard. This might be my favorite story of all because it shows what's really at stake here. So there's Richard. He's 73 years old. He'd been with the same financial advisor for 25 years. Nice guy, sent birthday cards every year. He remembered anniversaries, always friendly on the phone. But nice does not fund your retirement. Nice doesn't help you actually live the life you dreamed about. When we looked at his numbers, they weren't terrible, but they weren't what they should have been for 25 years of paying fees. But here's the thing that matters more than any percentage. Richard had been talking for years about taking his grandkids to Washington, D.C. He wanted to show them the monuments, walk through the Smithsonian, visit Colonial Williamsburg, all the American history he loved.
And every Thanksgiving, the grandkids would ask, "Are we going this year, Grandpa?" And every year the same answer, "Maybe next summer. I'm not sure we can really afford it right now." Meanwhile, his grandkids were going fast. The oldest one was already in high school. Time doesn't wait for anyone. Kids grow up, windows close. You don't get those years back.
So, about 10 months after switching over to us, Richard called us with some wonderful news. He had just gotten back from his 2-week trip with all 4 grandkids, went to Washington, D.C., Colonial Williamsburg, the whole thing. And everything he'd been dreaming about. So they finally did it together. The pictures he shared with us were great. And those kids were having the time of their life. And you know what Richard told us when he got back? He said, "I'd spent years thinking I couldn't afford to do this. Turns out I actually just needed someone to show me what was actually possible."
That's what addressing the elephant in the room does. It turns someday into this summer while your grandkids are still willing to go along with you and you're still able to remember it.
And tolerate you.
Exactly.
And have
On the
fun.
trip. Yeah.
That's not about percentages and annual returns. That's about memories that last a lifetime. That's about being present for the people who matter most instead of watching life go by from the sidelines.
All right, let's bring it home. It's January, new year, fresh start, clean slate, guys. 2 things you can do right now. Get your financial checkup done. Get your estate planning done. Both completely free. No excuses left.
The 4 get 1 frees are still on the table. You've got the Morningstar report, the Envision retirement analysis, estate documents through trust and will, and Erik's signed football. No cost, no obligation, no catch, just help.
So call VOL, which also is 865-415-2070 for my Ask Me Anything in 20 Minutes conversation. That number rings straight to my personal cell phone, goes to my office, but bumps to my cell phone. 20-minute talk to ask me whatever question is on your mind. No pressure, no obligation, no sales pitch, none of that. Or visit theorganizedinvestor.com where you can listen to the podcast 23 for the complete trust and will breakdown that we discussed a little bit earlier today. And there's also an article on the website called Avoiding Probate in Tennessee, which goes even in more detail than that.
Our website has samples of everything we offer. Morningstar reports so you can see what your checkup will look like, cash flow analysis examples, articles on estate planning in Tennessee. We also have over 25 podcast episodes covering everything from investment strategy to retirement planning to estate planning. So follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, or your favorite podcast player for more content throughout our year.
All right, let's recap everything we did here today. Packed show, a lot of important information. 36% in 2025, while the Dow did 13%. That's your financial checkup benchmark. That's what's possible when you have the right team managing your money with the right strategy. Everything a trust can do, a will can do too. That's the estate planning myth busting that we did earlier that could save you thousands of dollars and unnecessary complexity. Here's another one. Tennessee is a probate-friendly state, and probate might actually be faster than settling an estate inside a trust. Everything better be titled properly. Nobody else in the industry is going to tell you that. And your advisor should actually encourage you to enjoy your money. Hearing these stories that we've been talking about that you guys have been sharing today, that's the spending elephant that nobody in the financial industry wants to talk about. Why? Because you might be taking money out of your advisor's pocket. Not at Tennessee Wealth Management. We covered a lot today. All this information is available on the website, theorganizedinvestor.com, in the podcast. And as always, call Jerry. He'll talk to you about it.
One final thought to leave you with. The only thing we can't do is help someone who never picks up the phone. We can share all of this information on the radio every single week. We can post our performance numbers online for anyone to see. We can explain the truth about trusts and wills that nobody else in the industry is going to tell you. But none of it matters. None of it's going to help you or your family unless you actually take action and you reach out. It's January. Your resolution list is fresh and ready. The motivation is there right now. Let's actually make this the year things change for you and your family. Don't let another December arrive with these same items still on your list.
All we can do is to hope that you're going to hear us at the show. It's an opportunity knocking at your door. We go to great lengths every week to explain what we've accomplished, how we've done it, and why it works. Some people are going to respond, some won't. That's just kind of the reality of what happens with radio shows like this. But please don't leave us out here wondering if somebody's actually listening, if someone's even at home. Pick up the phone, send an email, visit the website. Take the first step today and give us a buzz.
And it's really fun. We know people are listening because here, fourth person, fifth person, already setting it up. I know they reached out to Megan, Jerry. We've been going to lunch with them with Jared and talking to these people that are listening that are like, hey, I want your help, right? And you've been hearing me. You've been hearing my wife, Susan, Megan Hubbard, Jerry Goodman. We're East Tennessee's Financial Four right here from Tennessee Wealth Management. Catch us every Saturday at 11, Sundays at 9 right here on this wonderful station, News Talk 98.7. And make this the year you actually get organized. Get that financial checkup. Get your documents done. Go Vols. We'll see you next week.
Information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the Organized Investor or Tennessee Wealth Management. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Erik Ainge is a host of The Erik Ainge Show on 99.1 The Sports Animal, weekdays from 9 to noon. He is not a client of Tennessee Wealth Management, but is compensated to both promote and co-host the Organized Investor Show. Opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and are not intended as investment advice or solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning or before making any investment decision. And please consult legal or tax professionals for specific information regarding your individual situation. Brokerage and advisory services are provided by Tennessee Wealth Management through Prospera Financial Services Incorporated. Member FINRA SIPC. The Organized Investor is a brand name operated by Tennessee Wealth Management for educational platform purposes.
At the Grimes Agency with Goosehead Insurance, everything starts with one goal: putting clients first. The team is committed to adding value, providing clarity, and ensuring every client feels confident in their coverage and price. As a true brokerage, the Grimes Agency shops your insurance with over 30 A-rated companies, including Progressive, Farmers, Travelers, Nationwide, Liberty Mutual, and many more, so we can make sure you have great coverage at the most competitive rate. From home, auto, umbrella, and dwelling to life and jewelry insurance, they offer personalized protection for what matters most. With honesty, transparency, and a client-first approach, this is insurance the way you always wished it was done. Call Mike Grimes at 865-281-1267 or visit www.tn.insure to compare real quotes in minutes. The Grimes Agency with Goosehead. Insurance the way you always wished it was done.
For more than 50 years, families, businesses, and neighbors have trusted one name to make life's biggest moments unforgettable: Rose's Catering. Family owned, locally grown, serving this community since 1971. And now, Rose's is taking hospitality to new heights. Literally, inside the iconic Sunsphere, Knoxville's shining symbol from the 1982 World's Fair. Introducing Sunsphere Events. 2 breathtaking floors of panoramic views, elegant gatherings, and the warmth only Rose's can provide. Whether it's a wedding in the sky, a corporate reception, or a celebration with friends, Rose's and Sunsphere Events bring people together beautifully. Visit rosescatering.com or sunsphereevents.com to plan your next unforgettable event. Rose's Catering, a Knoxville tradition since 1971.